them and they'll say, well, you know, they were looking for Bethlehem, and they didn't know that was where they were looking, but they just went to Jerusalem because that's the capital city, and that's where, but you know what, I actually believe that's where the star led them at that point in their journey. I believe Herod needed to understand that the king of the Jews had been born, and he needed to hear it from these men to kind of shake his world a little bit. Here's non-Jews coming to tell me that they've seen a star in the east. They're the kingmakers. He would have understood who they were better than we understand who they were. He understood them enough that he gave them an audience. And when they come in and they say, we've seen the star in the east, we've understood, we've been traveling, we've been coming to here. Wow. I think we need to understand that sometimes in our life, God's movement in our life is not from point A to B in a straight line. Sometimes God takes us out of the way from what we would naturally envision the way He would lead us and direct us somewhere else. So that we can grow, so that we can understand faith, so that we can be committed. Think about this. When God freed the children of Israel from slavery in Egypt, He could have in 4 days taken them to the promised land. But He didn't choose to do that. He took them a route that would take them weeks and months to have completed. So in about 4 months, they could have made this journey and done all that was necessary at that point. And what we have is God is in the process of changing them, changing their mind, changing their makeup, helping them understand they can be reliant on Him, helping them understand they can trust Him, helping them understand, because you know what? These people have never seen a God like this before. Sometimes God is going to take you on a journey that's going to take you somewhere that seems sidetracked, and what He's wanting you to do is have faith in Him, trust in Him. So as we go, we need to be focused on what Jesus is doing, how God is leading, how Scripture is directing. In Proverbs chapter 4, verse 25 through 27, it says, let your eyes look directly ahead, and let your gaze be fixed straight in front of you. Watch the path of your feet, and all your ways will be established. Do not turn to the right nor to the left. Turn your foot from evil. You see, God is saying, pay attention to me. Don't worry about where we're going as much as being with me. You see, we get so sidetracked sometimes, we look up and we go, oh, God's leading in this direction. It must be that building. It must be that place. It must be that job. It must be that commitment. And in the meantime, God's trying to get our attention. Don't guess. Just follow. And I know how hard that is. Then you move to a new place like Hong Kong, and you look at somebody and you say, how do we get to somewhere? And you know what? People don't know the name of the streets. Or they just go to Sham Shui Po and get off of exit B1, and then it's just straight ahead there. Yeah. About 1,000 other things are straight ahead there. What's what? God's not pointing in that direction. God's saying, follow me. He'll take us exactly where we need to go. So when we're on the search, don't worry about whether what you're doing seems like this sidetrack. If God led you there, that's on purpose to help you grow. So let's move forward. Another thing I want us to see is that anytime we search, it's often opposed. Now, immediately somebody will go, but Herod didn't oppose this. Herod wanted them to find Jesus. So there was an opposition from Herod for them finding Jesus. Matter of fact, he was saying, he got them off to the corner all by themselves in a secret meeting. And he says, listen, I want you to understand that when you find Jesus, I want to worship you also. I want you to understand. Some people want you to succeed for no other reason than to destroy your hope. You see, Herod's whole reason for wanting the Magi to succeed was to destroy Jesus. And as soon as they went back home a different way, what did he do? He went, based on their conversation of when the star appeared, he goes and kills every boy in Bethlehem below the age of 2. Wow. Herod the Great opposed him. Herod was great. He was a great builder. Matter of fact, there are structures within Israel today that are still usable. One of the major harbors in Israel was built by Herod the Great. The water system that is still in use in part of the city was built by Herod the Great. He was a great builder, but he was also a great oppressor. He taxed the people like crazy, and he was feeling threatened by anybody that threatened his power. The Sanhedrin court, which we understand from, that's what the Jews did a lot of their rulings from within the religious community and the society. During the time that Herod was the ruler, he killed over 300 members of the Sanhedrin court. He had multiple wives and he had multiple sons. And Roman history tells us he killed most of them because they were a threat to his power. If you were the mom and you came up and you said, can you help Lucius become accustomed to how to become king when you leave the throne? Both the mom and Lucius would have lost his life. It's interesting, Caesar Augustus said this about Herod the Great: I would rather be his pig than his son. So you think about it. These magi approach and they say, we've come to worship the king. He's not the king. Yes, in title he is, but he's only half Jew. He's half Idumean, and he doesn't really belong. He doesn't have the same authority that a true Jewish leader would. So he's threatened. I want you to know that in your search you will find people that are threatened by your searching. The second group that we see present there is that we've got the religious leaders, the chief priests and the scribes. I mean, goodness, think about this. They ask the question, where do we find this baby boy born? And immediately they respond from Micah chapter 5 verse 2, in Bethlehem. These guys have already traveled the 795 miles from where they would have potentially been to Jerusalem, but the religious leaders wouldn't travel the last 5 miles to Bethlehem with them. Sometimes when we are searching, people around us will be indifferent about our search. They'll look at us and go, oh, you're looking for Jesus. That's no big deal. I'm religious. I know all these things. I know, and we go through multiple things. And then all of a sudden we begin to go, well, is our search real? I mean, look at the reaction. These are religious people. They should be the ones that are most excited. They should go, wow, you saw the star? You heard? You're saying that the king is born? Let's go find him together. That should have been their response, but it was like, no big deal. We really don't care. Listen, I want you to know sometimes you're searching for Jesus, and you will approach a Christian that gives you the idea that Jesus is no big deal. I want you to understand, don't get discouraged and disappointed over the ignorance of that person or the fakeness of that person. I can claim to be mustard, and I'm not. People can claim to be Christian, and they're not. But if a person's got Jesus, they would understand the importance of your searching. And so, this morning, recognize that some people will just have an indifference to it, and they won't really care. They won't go the last 5 miles with you. But follow Jesus. Search for Him. It's worth the search. In Micah chapter 5, verse 2, this is what the leaders would have quoted from. But as for you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, too little to be among the clans of Judah, from you one will go forth for me to be the ruler in Israel. His goings forth are from long ago, from days of eternity. Reminds you of John chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 5. It says, behold, the days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will raise up for David a righteous branch, and he will reign as king and act wisely and do justice and righteousness in the land. So in the search, don't get discouraged when others oppose you or deceive you. The fifth thing, when you're truly searching, God will help your search. Can you imagine? They followed the star there. They think they've gotten to their destination. They think everything's done. And they have an audience with these people. And they hear additional scripture verses. They hear that the town is Bethlehem. But when they walk out, what do they see? They see the star. And the star is there to guide them. In Matthew chapter 2, verses 9 and 10, it says, after hearing the king, they went their way, and the star, which they had seen in the east, went before them until it came and stood over a place where the child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy. Now, think about it. How many of you have seen stars? I know in Hong Kong we don't see stars. We look up and we go, are they there? It's so much light here you can't see the stars. But if you live out a ways, you'd see the stars. I'm from a community of 300 people, and our whole county, which was larger land-wise than the entirety of Hong Kong, our whole county only had about 25,000 people in it. One apartment complex to take care of a whole bit. And you know, we would look up and see stars. I could find the North Star, and I could see the Big Dipper, and I could know where it was pointing, and I could see that. But you know what? In all the stars I've seen throughout my life, whether that was in Africa, or whether that was in South America, or whether that was Philippines, or wherever,